Hello. It is so weird to imagine that this is nostalgic now, but I guess it is, so let's talk about salad fingers. By the way, for everyone who doesn't know what this is, there's quite a bit of disturbing and gory content in the original cartoon. Here are some disclaimers for both what's in the original series and what I will be discussing for my analysis. So keep this in mind before going forward. But anyway, let's get started. Salad Fingers is a flash animation created by David Firth, the first episode having been uploaded to Newgrounds on the 1st of July, 2004. Man, maybe we should rename this month from Month of Spooks to Month of Newgrounds. The titular character's name was conceived from an in-joke between David and his friend Christian, who told him while playing guitar that he had salad fingers when playing the C chord. Salad is also voiced by David, who found a voice that was a cross between his grandmother's and Michael Jackson's speaking voice, and was spoken in a soft voice due to him not wanting to wake up his parents while he recorded the audio. Honestly, the funniest image is his parents just getting up in the middle of the night to get some water or something, and passing by their son's room to hear him whispering about a concerning love of rusty spoons. Though it almost has an ASMR quality to it.
What?
Hey, don't judge me. The animation originally wasn't super popular, but now has garnered a following, having millions of views on Newgrounds and YouTube, being shown at the Sydney Underground Film Festival, Hull Daily Mail's International Short Film Festival, and there was a tour throughout the United Kingdom. So it has gotten rather popular, and he is still uploading content for it to this day, with there being 12 episodes so far and a 13th one coming up. And I remember being in middle school with salad fingers being shown around the internet as a weird, creepy, shocking animation. And while it was creepy and gross and uncomfortable, I could never look away from it either. There's a couple things I found intriguing about the series. One, it almost gives off a Courage the Cowardly Dog vibe to me. With all the mature themes and gore scenes aside, they both are bizarre shows with the characters just accepting these creepy and horrible things around them as normal, as well as the surreal visuals. And while there are overarching ideas and characters throughout both shows, everything that happens in an episode is contained in that episode. Whether it's Salad Fingers eating his own brain, or Eustace and Muriel getting turned into puppets, the slate is wiped clean by the next episode. However, while they both give very similar vibes to me, Salad Fingers is definitely more unhinged than Courage the Cowardly Dog. And while Courage has a mostly coherent narrative, Salad doesn't really have that. There's ideas of a great war, Salad's finger puppet friends, and stuff like that, but the events that happen don't really have a singular solid narrative to really put together. Though the thing that makes Salad more intriguing in my opinion is that because of all these surreal events that occur with no solid narrative, it leaves room for interpretation from the viewer. Anyone could attach whatever theory or interpretation they want to Salad Fingers, and it would be valid. No one's own idea of what Salad Fingers is right or wrong. Today I will give a brief summary of each episode and then give my own interpretation of what Salad Fingers is to me. If you want to watch Salad Fingers first and make your own interpretation before you see mine, I have it linked in the description for you to watch first. I would be interested to see what your view of this series is. I will also give a quick overview of the episodes and the events that happened as a bit of a refresher for those who have already seen the series. However, if you want to skip any of these summaries, I will have the video split up into chapters for your convenience. Without further ado, let's get comfy and watch this madness. Episode 1, titled Spoons, is short, sweet, and really weird. We meet the titular character Salad Fingers, and he tells us about how he really likes the feeling of rusty spoons against his hands, almost a bit too much. He searches for the perfect spoon and comes across a house where someone he calls a young child lives. The child just kinda screeches at Salad, and then he goes inside. When Salad inquires about where the child's spoons are, the child just screeches again. Whatever Salad interprets that the child said, he decides it's best for him to leave, but not before caressing a rusty kettle. Yeah, even if you never saw the full series before, I'm sure you all have seen this first episode. It's certainly weird, and you get to see a creepy humanoid creature doing uncomfortable things and making uncomfortable sounds. The animation is a bit crude compared to the later entries in the series, but considering it was made so long ago and in a short amount of time, I think it still holds up really good, and still gives a creepy atmosphere. However, let's get into episode 2, Friends. Salad Fingers introduces us to his finger puppet friends, Hubert Cumberdale, Marjorie Stewart Baxter, and Jeremy Fisher. Salad decides to taste Marjorie and Hubert because, why not? He says Marjorie tastes like sunshine dust, and Hubert tastes like soot and poo. He then tells his friends that he has a fish cooking in the oven, before proceeding to randomly speak French. Get used to it, the weird and random is just part of the series. A young boy walks outside Salad's house, but stops when he hears Salad calling for help from a hole in the wall. He goes inside, and Salad asks him to get the fish from the back of the oven, since Salad can't reach it. The boy fearfully agrees to get it, but unfortunately for him, Salad gets distracted by a rusty nail, letting go of the oven door. Salad stabs himself on the nail, saying he likes it when the red water comes out, and passes out. In Salad's dream, he wakes up in a meat locker and proceeds to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, before he sees a giant version of Hubert Cumberdale, who also proceeds to screech at him. Salad eventually wakes up what seems to be a few hours later. Salad remarks that the fish smells about done, and we look at the oven with smoke billowing out of it, the child seemingly having been burned alive inside. Episode 3, Nettles, is even more odd. Salad has become hyperfixated on nettles, despite them giving him painful-looking hives, and comes across a baby carriage that he calls a nettle carrier, using it to take his nettles home. Some man without arms sees this and gets enraged, following Salad home. The man sees Salad being himself through the window, and begins to bash his head against Salad's door until he passes out. Salad exits the house, and says it's a strange hour for the unconscious man that dropped by, but welcomes him in anyway, and despite his name tag saying Harry, he names the man Milford Cubicle. He then drags Harry Milford Cubicle inside of his house and hangs him on a hook before he just plays the flute, okay then. He then offers Harry a glass of milk before the episode ends. Episode 4, Cage, opens with Salad trying to find France, but a little boy that has been watching Salad creeps him out to the point that he gives up on his adventure and goes home, which is saying a lot. While Salad is at home, a bug comes out of the wall. Salad greets it, calling it Bourdoise and Little Sister. He has a conversation with the bug and then tries to stroke it, but accidentally kills the bug. However, he doesn't really seem to realize this, and instead gets angry and tells the bug that he won't play with it again until it's had a wash. There's a knock at the door, and when Salad opens it, he sees a tab with a string attached to it. He follows the tab as it's pulled on a string, until he eventually steps in a bear trap and passes out. When he wakes up, he is in a small cage with rusty bars and decides to be Salad for a second, until he sees the boy from earlier walk up with a proposal ring. Salad says he doesn't like this game and that he's going to go home. The boy gets angry when Salad says this, but Salad then just pulls down a set of curtains, and when the curtains go up, Salad is gone. The boy cries, and Salad flies home on a giant tap. Episode 5, Picnic, is where it starts to get really interesting for the shorts. It starts with Salad Fingers dialing the operator on an obviously not functioning phone, though Salad hears a screeching from the other end. He asks the operator to tell his friend Charlie that he is holding a grand picnic today. When he gets quote-unquote disconnected from the operator, he pulls out the Hubert Cumberdale finger puppet, but for some reason in this episode, he forgets his name and calls him Barbara Logan Price. He says he made him a friend hat and puts a small sailor hat on him before whistling. We then get a random scene of Salad in a wedding dress before he looks in a mirror and says it's the big day. He then tells the Hubert puppet that the guests should be here anytime, and we just don't talk about this again, as Salad is seen outside for his picnic. A little girl walks up and decides to join the picnic. As the girl eats, a random crow flies by making sounds that are distorted, while Salad gives the girl food and makes up her half of the conversation for her. Salad elects the girl as his new playmate, and we see that the Marjorie finger puppet is watching Salad from the window as he says this. However, it goes downhill when the crow steals Salad's spoon. At first he laughs off the incident. However, when the girl laughs and says, "I think he likes spoons too," Salad absolutely freaks out. This is the first time anyone outside of Salad has said anything in English. The girl tries to ask what's wrong, but Salad holds himself up, his mind tormented with a distorted version of the girl asking him, "What's wrong, Mr. Fingers? Do you not like my mouth words?" The episode ends as Salad has a breakdown over the event in his house. Episode 6, titled Present, starts with Salad trying to get Hubert to come down from the top of the cabinet, who just kinda ends up turning into tar that runs down the cabinet and singes your skin to the touch, because this is a normal day in the life of Salad Fingers. He then brings out the Jeremy Fisher puppet, who supposedly comes back from fighting the Great War. Salad attempts to speak for him in a garbled dialect, and even he doesn't understand what the heck Jeremy was attempting to say. Jeremy gives Salad a toy horse, which Salad names Horace Horsecollar. He then eats Jeremy Fisher, and that's where he ran off to, but then gets distracted by playing with his horse toy. He walks around outside until he comes across a strange toilet. He then has a one-sided conversation with his reflection in the toilet water. We don't know what it's about, but it disturbs Salad, and he says that the other person has the wrong bloke before flushing the bad thoughts away. He decides to go home, and a version of himself is sitting in the house. The other Salad refers to Salad as Jeremy Fisher, and his one-sided conversation matches with Salad's previous one-sided conversation, as he accuses Jeremy of trying to get with his daughter. The other Salad then says he never got to taste Jeremy before biting him, and we see him biting into Salad, eating his own brain. Episode 7, titled Shore Leave, has Salad sampling the sand outside of his house in various spots. He then comes across a hole that Hubert dug dug up, and he sees a corpse that Salad calls Kenneth, who is his younger brother that left for the Great War. He says it was kind of rude for them to leave the Great War without him, but invites him inside. He dresses Kenneth in a nice suit and remarks how handsome Kenneth looks. He then sits him down for dinner and props the body up when he starts slumping over. Salad says he keeps himself busy and how he used to sing at all the functions. He then tells Kenneth he was telling Marjorie about how they would frolic by the riverside, but in his flashback, he is instead measuring the distance from his front door to a tree he calls Mr. Branches, and remarks how he has barely budged an inch all week. He then has a one-sided conversation with Kenneth where Kenneth asks for more vanilla crowns, but Salad scolds him and tells him he didn't finish the rest of his beef stroganoff yet. That night, Salad then tearfully takes Kenneth to the hole in the ground, seeming to believe that Kenneth is going back to the Great War. He then sings "We'll Meet Again" before sending the body back into the hole, and we cut to Salad singing the song on a stage, but stops to tell the piano player that they are playing in the wrong key before walking off stage. Episode 8, Cupboard, starts with Salad explaining about how he likes to listen to the radio, and how he will usually hear about the Great War, however he has to fill it with more pebbles in order to get a clear station, but the radio just ends up making distorted sounds and screeches at Salad, so he ends up sitting in his safety cupboard. He plays with his hands for a bit, playing as a Penny Pigtails who attempts to go to the market for raspberry jam, but the market trader says he won't sell it to her and insults her, which causes Salad to cry. Bro, what the hell, I used to do this stuff with my hands all the time when I was younger, minus the whole crying thing. However, he stops crying when he finds a hair in the safety cupboard, and rubs it against his eye, cause why not? He then hangs it on the wall with the other hairs in his bedroom. Later that night, he's woken up by screeching, and finds out it's his radio. When Salad tries to tell the radio to shut the fuck up, the radio tells Salad that it wants its hair back. When Salad is confused, the radio then berates Salad for how filthy the house is and tells him to clean. When Salad refuses to clean, the radio repeats "do it now," until the tearful Salad rips the hairs from the wall, eats them, and crawls into his safety cabinet to cry. Episode 9, Letter, is definitely a gross one, so I hope you're ready. It opens with Salad reading a letter, but it's really just a scrap of newspaper. A tree root then starts to grow into Salad's house, and Salad bites it, which causes a voice to say in a child's voice, "Daddy, that really hurt," and start to cry. We see that the voice is coming from Mr. Branches, the tree that we saw briefly in a previous video. The tree pleads with Salad, telling him that he's cold, and Salad tells him that he'll have to grow out of those branches if he wants to come inside. The tree continues to cry, and then constricts Salad with a branch. Salad then wakes up feeling ill, and with his stomach distended. He attempts to call for help by tapping Morse code into his heater, but of course this isn't going to do anything. A black gooey mass then bursts out of his stomach and onto the floor, which causes him to pass out again. When he awakens, he refers to the mass as a baby, naming her Yvonne. He tells the mass that she has her mother's eyes, and she was a fair maiden as well. He wraps the mass up in newspapers and writes a letter stating that he won't be able to fight the Great War as he is still not feeling well. He scolds Yvonne for not doing her exercises and tells Marjorie, "I think we've got a duff one," implying that she's the mother of the child. In the next coming days, Salad is still not feeling well, and decides that he can't care for Yvonne anymore. He then takes her to what is supposedly Auntie Bainbridge's house, which ends up being the same person that was identified as a young child in the first episode. Salad surprisingly seems to forget why he's there, and then declares that he is there to clean the windows, using Yvonne to wipe the windows, clean. And then he eats a sandwich. Can we all just give Salad a Father of the Year award? Next up is episode 10, Birthday. And let me just say that the production value and animation really jumped here. It looks incredible. Salad tells us it's Hubert's birthday, and tells the now decomposed corpse of Milford Hubercold that it'll be nice if he took a hot bath to get ready for the event. There is a knock at the door, and when Salad goes outside, he sees a column that stretches up to the sky, which disturbs him, especially as there is no rust on it. He attempts to make a one-sided conversation with it, but can't even seem to bring himself to speak on the pole's behalf before going inside. Milford falls off the wall hook, and Salad, faking that he's just feeling down, attempts to play him a music box song with his teeth. Don't ask, okay? But you can't cheer up the dead, so it does nothing. He puts Horace Horsecollar in charge until he gets back, and walks off into the wilderness to find a doctor, which he ends up finding a disturbing-looking puppet that is supposedly Dr. Papanek. However, he doesn't take the doctor to his house to check up on Milford, and instead acts like the doctor is giving him a checkup, which the doctor ends up getting a little bit too touchy until he bites Salad's face, which Salad ends up throwing the puppet, who lands on Horace Horsecollar and ends up clawing into the horse. At first, Salad is disturbed by this, but as the horse gets a more tearful expression, Salad tells Horace, "I know it hurts. Just try and sit still while the doctor eats your blood." Salad then continues to lay on the makeshift patient bed for so long that a tree ends up growing next to him. He ends up going back home and finds his house full of horses, even in the drawers and cupboards. He also finds that Milford is nothing but a skeleton and blames the horses for this before shooing them out of the house with a broom. When he exits the house, he finds the pole and angrily confronts it for supposedly bringing the horses to his house. He then finds a table where mutilated versions of himself are sitting and consuming flesh. The The other salads ignore his presence, even when he sits at the table. Eventually, the pole comes down from the sky, revealing a large wrapped present. Salad joyfully goes to open the gift, inferring that's his birthday after all. When he opens the gift, it's a hat made of Milford cuticle skin. Salad joyfully declares that he will wear the hat to the grave, and that today is a truly special day, but this is a lie because he never wears it again. We then get into episode 11, Glass Brother, which really ties together my interpretation that I'll give at the end. It starts with Salad talking to himself in a mirror. He tries to introduce his finger puppets to the reflection. He then switches tone in an instant, telling Marjorie that he told her to get a haircut before violently biting and ripping her hair out. He then tells her, when you disobey me, this is what it comes to. When he falls over coughing, he turns his aggression towards Hubert, telling him, I bet you find this amusing, don't you, Hubert Cumberdale? He then tells Jeremy Fisher that he's the most well-behaved, and that he'll be the first in the bathtub tonight. Hubert then starts to cry, which causes Salad to scold him even further. When he holds the mirror up to Hubert's face, Salad's reflection tells Hubert that he'll never be a real boy. After this, Salad seems to grow more sad until it cuts to his house, where he tells Hubert that he's ready to grow up a little, and begins to sew pieces of skin to Hubert. After hours of work, Salad proudly announces that this is Hubert Cumberdale, the real boy, which Hubert joyfully gets up and says that he feels like he could dance on the rooftops. Salad is overjoyed about how Hubert is growing up so fast, then approaches the mirror, telling his reflection that he is just a glass brother and wouldn't understand. This causes a woman to appear in the back of the mirror, who is supposedly Salad's mother. She tells Salad that he is a stupid boy, and tells him to fetch her a bowl of porridge. He attempts to give it to her through the mirror, but becomes distraught as the glass brother won't let him pass it through. The mother then calls him weak, which causes Salad to cry and break down more. The glass brother then calls him weak and just tells Salad to pass Mother the porridge. He then tells Salad that he thinks Salad wants their mother to starve. The mother tells Salad that he will just be a lonely reflection, and Salad says he wants to come back home. However, this causes glass brother to further insult him. Salad and Hubert try to go to a back entrance into the other realm, and when Hubert asks why glass brother is so mean, Salad says he was raised under the beast's sun. However, Salad is unable to get through the other entrance, as glass brother prevents him from going through again. When Salad makes himself dinner, the glass mother even dictates what he should put into his food, even though the ingredients make him feel ill. She threatens him when he talks back, and the food she tells him, of course, makes him feel sick. Hubert tries to cheer Salad up, and glass brother asks who Salad is talking to. When he sees Hubert, he's actually nice to him at first. As Salad is busy praising Hubert, glass brother reaches forward and snatches Hubert away from Salad. That night, Salad sneaks into the puddle outside, now able to go through the back entrance as glass brother isn't there. He sneaks into the other glass house, and finds Hubert, but gets caught by glass brother and glass mother. The glass mother breaks the mirror to prevent his escape, but Salad escapes through the vomit puddle that was in his bedroom. He keeps glass brother from going through, and glass mother threatens him from the handheld mirror, even bringing up, wait until your father gets home. However, Salad shatters the mirror, and as the mother's voice duplicates from the shards, he begins to use his fists to shatter the glass into dust. He then rubs Hubert into the dust and licks it. That's our Salad fingers. However, he keeps one of the shards with glass mother, cutting his finger on it and sticking into a box for later. Episode 12, Postman, is the latest episode in the series, at least until episode 13 comes out. It starts with Salad delivering packages and letters, and being a postman for some reason. He then goes to the postal counting house, which is just a car door with a dead dog on it. He seems to be enchanted by the dog's beauty, despite it being significantly younger. He asks the dog to accompany him to the ball, and that night when going to meet the dog for the date, he is irritated to find that Hubert tagged along. Hubert asking Salad, why must he keep so many secrets? Salad then tells him, I'll pretend he didn't say that, and goes to meet the dog, chasing off crows that surround it. He then takes the dog to a quiet place, telling it that word gets around. He then decides that they should go somewhere else because people are watching. We then get a, dating montage, I guess, and Salad randomly remarks that it's 3 weeks until the Queen's birthday, which is very British of him. He then wakes up in the morning, saying that this isn't right since the dog is half his age. There is someone at the door, and Salad says they're here to take him away, and the dog's parents have always hated him. A note is slid under his door, and whatever it says causes Salad to take the dog back to the stump from earlier, where a dog with a baby head comes out to take the dead dog. Salad says he knew this day would come, as they're not ready to lose their daughter. The episode then ends as the dog is dragged into the stump. So yeah, we have a lot to unpack here. And before we go into my interpretation, keep in mind that since this is a surreal piece of art and everyone is going to see Salad Fingers differently, I'm not here to say my view on Salad Fingers is right and yours is wrong. Far from it, actually. I don't think anyone is necessarily right or wrong, it's just how the viewers put together these scattered, surreal pieces into a cohesive narrative. And I know my interpretation doesn't cover everything and it's going to have some holes in it, but this is just how my experiences shape my viewing experience of salad fingers. And if any of you have a different interpretation, I honestly would love to hear your viewpoint in the comments. But let's not dilly-dally any further and get straight into it. There's a few things that stand out for me in Salad Fingers. The concerning amount of self-harm and child neglect/abuse, how Salad views the horrible things in his daily life, such as violence, as normal, the lack of a positive adult figure, his lack of understanding of how death works, and his behavior throughout the episodes. For me, I see Salad as a neurodivergent adult attempting to cope with early childhood trauma. I don't see the events around Salad as literal, but rather how he interprets certain events or replays them in his head. I don't think he's in a literal desert wasteland, but rather isolates himself and just envisions the part of the world that he wants to play with at that time. I mean, look at the little girl in Picnic. This is how she actually looks, sounds, and acts.
I think he likes spoons too.
This is how Salad replays her in his head after she freaks him out.
What's wrong, Mr. Finger? Do you not like my mouth words?
He replays events that scare him as much worse in his head. As someone that has autism and PTSD, there are some things I relate to Salad with, such as stimming, though I don't stim in the exact way that Salad does. His struggles with social interaction, where he is fine in his own one-sided conversations, but gets freaked out when in a real social interaction, liking some textures but not others, his hyperfixations on different things, such as with France, rusty metals, or nettles, and his sensitivity to large amounts of stimulation or noise, and seeking a quiet and safe place when it gets to be too much, replaying horrible experiences in his head, and different things setting him off into a mental spiral because it triggers a bad memory. He also has a lot of childlike behavior, such as referring to people as playmates, playing with toys and puppets and such, despite appearing as an adult. At least in these moments, he seems to have major age regression. Salad seems to be trying to gain some kind of control over these traumatic events that have happened. These horrible things that happen, Salad sees as games, or tries to represent them with inanimate objects, like how children might replay horrible events using dolls. He is also able to keep control over the conversation 80% of the time, and if things get too far where he doesn't like it, he is able to escape the situation. Like how with the stalker, he was able to just teleport out of the cage. But why would Salad want to replay these events? Or even seem aroused while replaying it? Because he can't process it, and he wants to regain some control over what happened. It could also be why he commits so much self-harm, as the act of harming yourself can be used to help give you control and release bad emotions, which, unfortunately for Salad, has turned from a bad coping mechanism to not only a habit, but something he actually enjoys doing to himself. I'll go over a few events that happened in the series, as well as a few characters, and interpret what they could be according to Salad, starting with Glass mother and brother. These two are obviously Salad's abusive family members. They not only seem to not care about Salad's well-being, but outright physically and verbally abuse him. And I think the mother is not only represented in the mirror, but also by the radio. The radio talks to him like the mother does, telling him that the house is filthy and berating him until he eventually gives in to what the radio asks. And the radio upsets Salad to the point where he hides away in the cupboard and cries. But why is his family so mean to him in particular? Unfortunately, I think it's because of his disability. They constantly call him stupid, weak, and that he won't be a real boy. But wait, you ask, they didn't tell Salad that he wouldn't be a real boy. Glass brother told Hubert that. Well, I think the finger puppets, including Hubert Cumberdale, represent Salad and his siblings. When the mirror is held up to Hubert's face, you see Glass brother in the mirror, who is only seen when Salad is in the reflection. Hubert is a stand-in for Salad. During the scene in Glass brother, where Salad begins to berate the puppets, he doesn't really sound like Salad. Salad is certainly weird and creepy, but he's not rude and malicious. He sounds more like Glass mother.
I've got a collection of little buggers who've been waiting to see you. I thought I told you to get a haircut, Marjorie Stewart Baxter.
And with Hubert being a stand-in for Salad, and Salad currently acting like Glass mother, this is how I interpret the puppets. Marjorie is Salad's sister, and at this point seems to be going through a rebellious teen phase, as her puppet looks different compared to previous episodes, where she had longer childlike hair and a simple dress. Now she has shorter and more wild hair, and a more revealing tank top. Salad then tells her that he told her to cut her hair, violently ripping her hair and cutting it, and tells her that this is what she gets for not obeying. It seems like Salad's sister began to act more rebellious, and receive more of their mother's wrath. However, However, Salad was always a target, as even though Hubert isn't doing anything, Sal begins to berate him and makes him cry, which seems to be a very Salad response to abusive situations. Jeremy Fisher seems to be the golden child, and perhaps is the same person as Glass Brother, as Salad said that Glass Brother has always basked in the Beast's son, which might mean that he followed his mother's lead so much that Glass Brother ended up being like his and Salad's mother. He gets treated better than his siblings, and is told that he is the only well-behaved one. Unfortunately, Salad seems to have gotten kicked out of the house for being different, and seems to try to keep in contact with his abusive family occasionally. He does end up breaking contact with them, but when he keeps a shard of glass with Glass Mother's reflection in it, it shows that Salad is never truly going to escape Glass Mother and his brother at the point he's at now. Their words are going to continue having an impact on him and hurting him. There's not only that, but I don't think Salad's father was a good guy either, especially by how Glass Mother kept saying, "Wait until your father comes home." Fathers don't seem to have a positive role in Salad's life, which you can see in his interaction with Mr. Branches. Mr. Branches keeps calling out for Daddy to help him. It talks about how he's cold, and it's not fair that he's forced to stay outside of the house. Salad simply tells Mr. Branches that he needs to grow out of his branches in order to come inside, which is impossible, as Mr. Branches is a tree. It's part of him. It could be possible that Salad's father had a hand of kicking Salad out of the house. Maybe not only as an adult, but many times as a child for his disability. His family would want him to grow out of his tendencies, but he can't, and it made his treatment worse. Perhaps it's stretching it a little bit, but it's just how I see it. Did Salad have any positive family members or adult figures growing up? Honestly, I don't think so. He seems to be shunned for being an outcast at best, or downright abused in various ways at worst. Even by his auntie, who he says would beat his bottom raw. Another awful figure seems to be their doctor. Dr. Papanak creeps me out and disgusts me, and not just for his creepy visuals, but just the overall interaction with him and Salad. The interaction seems very sexually charged, with Salad starting by trying to push away the puppet, before letting the puppet do things to him. However, it still ends with fear and pain. I don't think this is the first time Salad sees Dr. Papanak as he seeks him out, and tells Horace Horsecollar, "I know it hurts, just try and sit still while the doctor eats your blood." He doesn't question the horrible encounter, it just seems to be normal. I don't think the doctor really eats patients' blood, but he seems to assault his victims. In Salad's case, more than once. Salad tries to make it out like it's normal, trying to reenact the encounter, but act like it's enjoyable to try to regain control of what happened. But the memories of pain and trauma are still there. He can never truly get away from the scars of the event. Another thing with Salad is he doesn't really seem to have an understanding of death, or at least has difficulty processing it, which is probably due to the Great War. I don't think Salad participated in it though, but would have heard about the war through the radio, and all of its monstrosities. Of course, he would have had family members that either got drafted or willingly went to war as well. One, of course, being the death of his brother, represented with Kenneth. Salad unfortunately doesn't really understand that a sibling is gone, or has a hard time of processing it, and acts like his brother is still alive. Whether Kenneth is a separate sibling or representative of Glass Brother, I'm not really sure. Another recurring theme of Salad is that he seems to want to be a parent. This is seen with Yvonne, Hubert Cumberdale when he's made all fleshy. Salad seems overjoyed at the thought of raising a child. However, because of the toxic environment he was raised in, he unfortunately doesn't know how to raise a child, or at least his trauma gets in the way. And he doesn't even seem to believe that he himself is fit to even raise a child, which at this point, he probably isn't. While the story of Salad Fingers is certainly creepy, gross, and uncomfortable, I also find it tragic and sad. And weirdly enough, I almost find Salad to be a comfort character. As someone who is neurodivergent, with toxic family members and adult figures, there are points where I do connect with Salad. Am I projecting? Probably. But I think that's what's great about Salad Fingers, is for people to connect to him in different ways. Some people like me interpret him as autistic and connect to him that way. Some see him as a veteran, or a dementia patient, or a child with a broken childhood. Or maybe some just see him as a creepy green dude who touches spoons all day, I don't know. With how surreal and uncomfortable everything is, your brain is going to try to make its own connections, making Salad Fingers the perfect personalized horror. And I am very much looking forward to episode 13 that's coming out. I mean, if it hasn't come out already while in the process of recording, editing, and uploading this video. And that is my interpretation of Salad Fingers. Have you ever seen this before when you were younger, or when you became an adult? What do you think of it, and how do you interpret it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to click the subscribe button and that notification bell in order to see my future videos. Until next time, this is Danse Macabre, signing off. Bye bye, and stay spooky.